The all-new 2025 luxury SUV is here, and it's shaking up the market. It undercuts premium brands like Lexus and Volvo in price, but the real question is, how does it actually drive? In this video, I'll give you the full breakdown: design, features, performance, comfort, and the hidden truth behind the drive. Is this SUV a true luxury bargain, or does it fall short when compared to Lexus and Volvo? Stay tuned till the end because the driving experience will completely shock you. If you love SUV reviews, future cars, and luxury comparisons, then you're in the right place. Subscribe here for more Tesla, BMW, Lexus, Volvo, and futuristic car reviews. What if I told you that a brand new luxury SUV just arrived, and it dares to take on Lexus and Volvo head-on? Not only that, but it undercuts them by thousands of dollars. Sounds impossible, right? Well, this is not a rumor. It's real. And the story behind it will surprise you. For years, Lexus and Volvo have ruled the quiet kingdom of comfort. They built their reputations on smooth rides, refined cabins, and a kind of trust that takes decades to earn. But history tells us that no empire lasts forever. Somewhere in the shadows, a challenger always waits. And today, that challenger has stepped onto the stage. At first glance, it doesn't look like a disruptor. Sleek lines, sharp lights, a badge you might not recognize. It almost feels too polished, too bold for a newcomer. But that's what makes it so dangerous to the old guard. Because the first rule of power is simple: always look stronger than you are. So who is behind this SUV? And why did they dare to walk into a space dominated by names with decades of prestige? The answer lies in strategy. Think of a general planning a war. You don't charge the enemy where they are strongest. You strike where they least expect. For Lexus and Volvo, that weak spot is price. This SUV enters the battlefield at a number so shocking, many are asking, how is this possible? While Lexus and Volvo demand a premium, this contender slips in quietly with luxury touches, advanced tech, and a sticker price that makes buyers pause. And when buyers pause, empires shake. But here's where things get interesting. Price is only the opening shot. True power lies in what happens on the road. Because anyone can promise luxury. But can this SUV deliver it? Can it really go wheel to wheel with Lexus's silk-smooth drive or Volvo's solid calmness? That's the real test. And the results might shock you. We're standing at the start of a story. A story of ambition, risk, and a clash of giants. And this SUV, it could be the first chapter in a much bigger plan. A plan to topple dynasties that seemed unshakable. But will it succeed? Or will it be remembered as just another failed uprising, forgotten like so many before? That answer will depend on more than just price. It will depend on performance, on trust, and on how drivers feel when their hands grip the wheel. And that is where we go next. In the next episode, we leave the showroom and hit the open road. Because the battlefield is not in the brochure. It's out there, where the engine roars, the tires grip, and the truth can't be hidden. So buckle up, because the rise of a challenger has only just begun. What if I told you that the biggest shock this new SUV delivers isn't its looks, or even its engine, but its price? A number so low, it sent ripples through the luxury market. Because while Lexus and Volvo guard their kingdoms with premium tags, this new contender chose a weapon far more dangerous: affordability. For decades, luxury meant money. A Lexus badge came with a certain cost. A Volvo badge whispered quiet prestige. And buyers accepted it, almost like paying tribute to an empire. But this SUV tore up the rules. It walked straight into the throne room and declared, "I can give you the same luxury for less." But how much less? Enough to make people look twice. Enough to make potential buyers pause before signing another lease. Enough to make rivals nervous. Think of it like an empire suddenly hit by a tax revolt. The treasury cracks. The people start to question their rulers. And once doubt sets in, loyalty is never the same again. The secret lies in strategy. This SUV's creators knew they couldn't fight Lexus or Volvo on heritage. No one can buy history, but they could attack on price, the one battlefield where giants often feel invincible. And by stripping away the unnecessary, by sourcing cleverly, By betting big on scale, they slashed the entry cost of luxury. Of course, this raises another question. What's missing? How can it cost so much less? Is the leather thinner? Is the tech outdated? Is the safety compromised? Skeptics are right to ask. Because history is filled with challengers who promised much, but delivered little. And yet, early impressions tell another story. Step inside, and the cabin feels surprisingly premium. Touch the controls, and you sense precision. Look closer, and you find details borrowed straight from high-end rivals. It's almost unsettling, like walking into a palace you didn't expect to afford. But is it all an illusion? Or is it truly a bargain that threatens the dynasty? This is where the tension rises. Because while the sticker price grabs attention, the real test lies ahead. Can this SUV sustain its promise? Or is this low price the sign of a gamble? A gamble that could crumble if the driving experience fails to match the dream. What happens next could change everything. If this SUV proves itself on the road, then Lexus and Volvo's reign might not feel as untouchable as it once did. But if it falters, then the low price becomes nothing more than a desperate play, the kind history forgets. And that's where we go in the next chapter. Because numbers on a sticker don't win battles. Engines do. Roads do. And the next episode will reveal the heart of this machine, the power hidden under its hood, and whether it's strong enough to lead a revolution. Step inside this SUV, and you'll notice something strange. At first, it feels like any other luxury cabin. Smooth leather, sharp screens, quiet confidence. But look closer, and you start to see it, a mix of steel and silk, hard edges softened by elegance. It's a new kind of luxury, and it doesn't play by the old rules. For years, Lexus defined comfort with hushed interiors. Volvo built its name on clean Scandinavian calm. Their formulas were tried and true. But this SUV, it's different. It blends modern boldness with a kind of simplicity that feels almost daring. The lines are sharper. The materials are unexpected. It's as if the designers asked themselves, why copy the past when we can rewrite it? But the question lingers, is it truly luxury or just the illusion of it? A leather seat can look rich in a photo, but will it wear well after years of use? A touchscreen can glow like a jewel, but will the software keep up with your demands? History shows us that appearances can deceive. The Roman palaces shone bright until the cracks appeared. Still, first impressions carry weight. And this SUV delivers them with precision. From the stitched dashboards to the hidden ambient lights, it whispers a promise. You don't need to spend Lexus money to feel like you're in Lexus territory. That's the kind of message that makes rivals nervous. But here's the twist. It doesn't stop at imitation. This SUV tries to carve its own path. Minimalist controls. Unexpected textures. A sense of daring that suggests it wants to lead, not follow. And that leads us to the real question. Is this a bold reinvention or reckless ambition? Because if buyers don't connect with this new breed of luxury, the gamble fails. Think of it like introducing a new language into an empire. If the people embrace it, it spreads like wildfire. But if they reject it, it dies quickly. Right now, this SUV's design language is at that tipping point. Admired by some, questioned by others, waiting to prove whether it's evolution or just noise. And that proof won't come from the stitching or the screams. It will come from the heart. Because luxury isn't just how it looks, it's how it moves, how it feels, how it responds when the road tests it. That's where the truth is revealed. So, we leave the cabin behind and move to what really matters. The core, the soul, the engine. Because in the next chapter, we'll lift the hood and uncover the heart of the machine. And what we find there could change the entire story of this SUV's rise. Every empire has a secret, a hidden strength that holds it together. For this SUV, that secret lies under the hood, the heart of the machine. And here's where things get interesting. Because while Lexus and Volvo rely on proven engines, refined over decades, this newcomer takes a different path. A path that could either crown it or expose it as a pretender. On paper, the numbers look strong. Horsepower that rivals the big names. Torque that promises quick response. Efficiency that whispers of long journeys without constant stops at the pump. But paper doesn't tell the whole story. Just like battle plans drawn in ink, reality is tested on the field. Engines are no different. They win trust not in brochures, but in motion. Start the ignition and you hear it. A hum that feels sharp, almost eager. Not as hushed as a Lexus. Not as reserved as a Volvo. This SUV wants to be heard. It wants to announce itself. Some will call that confidence. Others will call it arrogance. Either way, it makes a statement, I'm here. But the true test isn't in the sound. It's in the feel. Press the pedal, and you'll know instantly if this SUV is a serious contender. Does it surge forward with authority, or stumble like a rookie? Early drives suggest something surprising, a balance between power and restraint. It's not brute force. It's not timid silence. It sits somewhere in the middle, a deliberate choice. And that choice raises a question. Is this the sweet spot buyers have been waiting for? Or is it a compromise that pleases no one? Because history reminds us, leaders who try to be everything to everyone often fail. The same is true in engineering. Then comes the twist. Behind the primary engine lies whispers of more. Hybrid options. Electric futures. A strategy that looks beyond today, toward the battles of tomorrow. It's a risky move, promising evolution before proving dominance. But sometimes, boldness is the only way to break an empire's grip. Still, one truth remains. Engines are more than numbers and technology. They're emotion. They decide whether a driver feels alive behind the wheel or bored. And this SUV's heart may be strong, but whether it can stir souls is still uncertain. And that uncertainty sets the stage for the next test. Because an engine, no matter how powerful, means nothing without the road. It's out there, in the curves, the bumps, the endless miles, where legends are made or broken. So, in the next chapter, we leave the garage and step onto the battlefield itself. The open road awaits. And what happens when this SUV faces it head-on will shock you. This is where talk ends, and truth begins. Brochures can promise anything. Showrooms can dazzle with lights and polish. But the battlefield of cars has always been the road. And here, in the chaos of real driving, this SUV must prove itself. Welcome to the rebellion. The first moments behind the wheel are revealing. The steering, light but precise. The suspension, soft enough to soothe, but firm enough to grip. It doesn't feel like a rookie trying too hard. It feels calculated, measured, almost confident. But is it confident enough to challenge Lexus and Volvo, the masters of comfort and control? Push harder, and the cracks, or the strengths, start to show. On a highway stretch, the cabin stays surprisingly quiet, muting the roar of tires and wind. A win, no doubt. But take a sudden corner, and you feel it lean, just slightly, reminding you, this is not a sports car dressed as an SUV. It is built for a different kind of war, not speed, but balance. And that balance could be the weapon that sets it apart. Because while Lexus prides itself on silk-smooth calm, and Volvo champions steady stability, this SUV seems to carve out its own lane. A drive that feels alive, but not exhausting. Safe, but not dull. Could this be the middle ground that shakes the old order? Of course, not every moment is flawless. On rough roads, the suspension sometimes hesitates, caught between comfort and control. In quick maneuvers, the steering can feel less sharp than a German rival. These are the risks of trying to be both luxurious and affordable. Every empire has its weak walls. The question is, will enemies exploit them? Yet here's the surprise. For many drivers, those small weaknesses fade. Because the overall experience delivers something more powerful than perfection. Trust. You trust it to handle long journeys. You trust it to keep you comfortable. And when a car earns trust, it earns loyalty. But loyalty is fragile. One bad move, one hidden flaw, can undo it all. And that's why the road test, as strong as it looks today, isn't the final judgment. The real test comes when this SUV faces not just the pavement, but the marketplace. Because rivals are watching, and they are not about to give up their thrones without a fight. So as we leave the open road, we turn to the arena where giants collide, the market itself. How will Lexus, Volvo, and even BMW respond to this uprising? And will alliances form, or enemies sharpen their swords? The next chapter reveals the clash beyond the road. Welcome to Allies and Enemies in the Market Arena.